On this episode, we have our Fastlane fallout, talk about Stardust, Reigns versus Lesnar, Wyatt versus Undertaker, Sting, and pretty much everything else, now on Byte That. Welcome everybody, you are listening to episode 79 of Byte That, the somewhat maybe international professional wrestling podcast where we talk about the ups and downs of that which we love, which is powerbombing your best friend so you can become champion and make some money for your family. Thanks for tuning in and checking out the show. Remember, we are available every single Tuesday night on Stitcher, TuneIn Radio, iTunes, and of course, youtube.com/ByteThatCast. My name is Juan Velos. I am from San Juan, Puerto Rico. And guys, we have a huge show. We're coming off Fastlane, so that's where the 3 Live crew, we are back. First, I'm joined by, all the way from Winnipeg, Manitoba, Canada, Keith Poshik, people.
Hello, and Mr. Juan, I want you to know that if you came between me and any form of money, I would powerbomb you in a heartbeat. I love you.
That would involve us having a wrestling match, man, so I would be perfectly okay with that. I love you, Keith. I always do.
I heard you really enjoy wrestling other men.
And from Boston, Massachusetts, Ryan McNulty, people.
Juan, it's good to not get entirely destroyed by another snowstorm this weekend. It actually, it snowed a little bit, but I think the worst is over. And we just have so much to talk about today that, let's just get right into it.
Yeah, this is one of the biggest episodes. I think we have just so much to cover. We were just working on the list and just holy crap, between Fastlane, between Raw. So we're going to have an interesting dynamic. Usually we talk about the pay-per-view and then we talk about Raw, but we're sort of going to condense everything. So if we talk about a pay-per-view match, we'll make sure to talk about the follow-up happening on Raw. So you guys ready?
Yes.
Let's do her.
Perfect. Now, of course, we always got to start with our tradition. Post-pay-per-view reaction, so I want to get your overall feedback before we delve into any specific things. Fastlane, the first time, arguably the best Fastlane show that there has ever been. Or do you guys agree?
Absolutely. I mean, I haven't seen a better Fastlane pay-per-view in my life. Overall,
Same.
The show, I thought it was pretty good. Good, not great.
Really? Because I thought that when we were in the fast lane to WrestleMania, it was a hell of a show. There wasn't really a bad match on the card.
Yeah, I definitely think it did a good job of setting everything up for WrestleMania, giving us a better direction. Obviously, there is a lot of controversy, which is always great for the podcast and great as a wrestling fan. So let's actually delve into some of these things. Going first, obviously, I got to bring it off because ever since the Royal Rumble, this has been the primary topic. Roman Reigns, is he going to wrestle Brock Lesnar at WrestleMania? So we got this match at Fastlane where the winner between Daniel Bryan and Roman Reigns would become the number one contender. Lo and behold, Roman Reigns is our new official number one contender. A clean finish. There was no controversy here. So Keith, taking it to you first. What was your reactions as that match progressed and then ultimately when Roman Reigns became the winner?
I mean, if this match was a platform to help justify Roman Reigns and see if he could hang, I think they pulled it off quite well. Daniel Bryan and Roman Reigns had a hell of a match. Man, was there some stiff shots in that match.
Yeah.
And then at the end of it, the divine plan came through all along.
I thought it was fantastic. Absolutely, without question, Roman Reigns' best match of his career. When me and Keith were doing the predictions, we were saying, this is his true test to see, if he can't have a good match with Daniel Bryan, then he's not going to have a good match with anyone. They pulled out all the stops. They had an amazing match. And I think Reigns showed a lot here. Of course, people can argue Daniel Bryan, he carried him the whole time. Reigns looked great. Bryan looked great, and the finish made sense, a nice clean win. It was awesome.
And how long has it been since we've wanted just that clean finish to a match that actually advances the storyline, as we obviously saw on Raw, but just about the match itself, I thought it was awesome. And it made believers out of us. We were watching Fastlane together, and yeah, it didn't look like Daniel Bryan was helping Roman Reigns have a great match. It really, both guys played the roles perfectly. I was very happy with it. The crowd was involved. I mean, obviously there was a split crowd, but much like the "Let's Go Cena sucks" chants, it's fun because the people are invested. Now, the crowd for other things weren't really all that invested, but it was awesome to really see that. And then, obviously, we got to get to the conclusion of this mini storyline, which happened on Raw. We got Daniel Bryan, Roman Reigns standing in the middle of the ring. And we obviously sort of know what's going to happen here because the WWE is trying to really do damage control. That's been the theme ever since the Royal Rumble. How can they make Roman Reigns look like the babyface for WrestleMania, like a legitimate contender for Brock Lesnar, and obviously moving away from the whole yes movement so he doesn't have that, in his backpack. So what did you guys think of the segment between them where Daniel Bryan is, in a weird way, sort of just passing the torch to Roman Reigns?
I say you could even go one step before that, and at the end of their match when Bryan just went up to Roman, it's like, hey, you beat me, you better beat Brock or else kind of thing. But it was just, he was giving Roman Reigns his blessing during that time, and maybe that's a way of like the WWE trying to create a situation. It's like, see guys, Bryan wants Roman to win, so you should want Roman to win too.
As far as basically this theme of Bryan trying to help Reigns get over in the way, he's saying, like, you fought hard, you were the better man. Is just trying to, Bryan's trying to, help, kind of like what The Rock was trying to do at the Royal Rumble. And I guess a lot of people, and I mean, I can see where they're coming from, where, especially on Monday Night Raw, it came on a little too strong. Between this segment with Bryan, calling him sir even, all these things, trying to just like, put Reigns on this pedestal of being awesome, and Heyman coming out as well and like really laying it on thick that, Reigns is the man. And I could see how that puts people off because a lot of people are in denial about Reigns being the guy because that's not who they want to be the guy. The point is we have to accept it, and I don't think it's going to be as bad as everyone thinks it is. It's not everybody's ideal WrestleMania main event, but that doesn't mean we have to complain and cry about it.
So I have a quick question for you guys. Do you think that it's almost a negative thing how they're throwing basically everyone they can in the let's support Roman Reigns camp?
Yes.
Like The Rock, Daniel Bryan. Is it almost like, well, he can't stand on his own, so God, we need to do something to make Roman Reigns believable?
I mean, Ryan's yes pretty much is yes, but that match really is all that should have happened. But then it's like when you give a handshake on a good negotiation, then you see comment afterwards that just ruins everything. That promo on Raw just sort of made me go like, man, I get what you're doing. We were happy with the match. We're okay with the fact that this is now going to happen at WrestleMania. Why must you keep doing this? We've accepted it. Move on. Do something else. But it's like they were just, and just in case, look, Daniel Bryan didn't just lose with him. He's basically just giving you the match despite the fact that there was the yes movement, despite the fact that John Cena was murdered by Brock Lesnar. All these things apparently don't matter because now it just became about Roman Reigns. And that I get from a character development standpoint for Reigns, it makes sense. But you're basically saying, you know what? Everything that's been happening for the past year doesn't really matter all that much.
Yeah, it's really only a detriment to Reigns because it's coming up, it's try hard. It is so try hard that they're like, please like this guy for the love of God. Where, I mean, you can still do the promo with Bryan and Reigns, and Bryan just comes out and goes, look, we gave it everything we had. You were the better man last night. Now go beat Brock Lesnar. That's it. Done. Everyone would have been cool
Agreed.
with it. Bryan's not making him look bad. He's accepting his loss. It makes Reigns look good. Maybe save the Heyman promo for another week because it was all just a little too much, especially Heyman saying, of all these errors, I would bet on Roman Reigns. And it's like, all right, buddy. Like, Heyman is wonderful at promos, but it's a little too much right now.
It's
way too much. He's proven himself really. This is the first match where I've really been like, damn, Roman Reigns, he could be the guy. And it's like, you can't start throwing this out like he can take on the all-time greats at this point, because we don't believe it yet.
It's time for me to bring up the big question. You guys ready?
Yes. We
know the match for WrestleMania. Roman Reigns versus Brock Lesnar. Do you want to see this match? Are you happy that it's going to take place?
Am I happy that it's going to take place? Sort of. I mean, we gave our ideal situations after the Rumble. I would have rather have seen Bryan versus Lesnar. That doesn't mean I don't want to see this match. I still think it has the potential to be really good. You can never underestimate Brock Lesnar's ability and how much he can bring to a match. And, I'm not going to sell Reigns short if he's going to have to bring it. And I think he has that potential for them. Is it going to be the best match on the card? Jury's still out on that.
I got to agree with Ryan. Of the possible outcomes that the WrestleMania main event could have been, this is definitely the least exciting of them, but that doesn't mean it's like a bad concept at all.
What about Cena versus Lesnar? Wouldn't that be the least exciting?
Yeah. Keith is silent.
Yes, all right, but I never even considered that as a possibility. I was thinking of the whole Reigns, Bryan triple threat, or
your mind was in a smaller pool of selection.
Yes, it was a much smaller picture. I wasn't thinking of things like Fandango versus Brock Lesnar in the main event. But no, it's going to be a good match, and it's going to be more of an interesting match than a great match, in my opinion.
Yeah, I think WWE was simply in the bad position of choosing short-term satisfaction versus long-term planning, because for me personally, I think Daniel Bryan versus Brock Lesnar would have been an amazing match, sort of like a dream match within the contemporary era, but then what would have happened the night after Raw? Daniel Bryan's already at the top of the company in many ways, where Roman Reigns sort of doesn't need that push, and even though I don't think I'm going to be as excited for this match, I get long-term planning, and I get that it would benefit way more if Roman Reigns was in this position. So, yeah, it's a little tough for me, but I am okay with the match.
And don't get me wrong, people that are complaining about Bryan not going to be in the main event or whatever, don't feel like it was all for nothing, because you guys actually did something. Because of this, we got this Daniel Bryan Roman Reigns feud. If Reigns did not get that negative reaction that he got at the Rumble, I really don't believe we would have gotten that Bryan's Reigns match at Fastlane, which gave Reigns his best match ever and definitely made him that much more ready for the main event of WrestleMania. So even though it wasn't exactly what everyone wanted, I do think we got a better pay-per-view in Fastlane and a potentially better main event at WrestleMania because of it.
This seems to be a recurring theme with WrestleMania, because obviously Daniel Bryan versus Brock Lesnar was people's primary pick. The next match I want to get to, originally thought we were going to be getting Sting versus The Undertaker. Now, obviously everything has led to the confirmation of Sting versus Triple H taking place at WrestleMania. We got that confrontation at Fastlane. So I want to get your quick reactions. What were you actually expecting? I know we talked about this in last week's episode, you guys did, versus what actually came to be here.
As far as what actually happened, it pretty much was dead on as my expectations. I thought Triple H would have gotten a little more offense on Sting and maybe came out on top, but obviously that didn't happen. Now, I understand Sting is some mythical force or whatever they're building him up to be, but that spot with the bat where he basically held Triple H up like it was a gun, like, come the frick on. It's not a gun. Why are you threatening to blow his brains out with a baseball bat, Sting? It was a little much.
I thought it was pretty good. I didn't expect Sting to actually take bumps and stuff, just kind of bump around the ring a little bit. So that was cool, and maybe it would have been cooler if Triple H kind of got one over on him, but you had to kind of set up the challenge. Sting needed to be kind of there and everything for, to point the bat at the WrestleMania sign. Like, I know he's not holding him up like it's a gun, but I mean, if a guy's got a baseball bat against your chin, there's not really much you can do.
What would a baseball bat do against somebody's chin?
Well, I mean, it's more
besides like gingerly tap their throat.
But it's more like he has him cornered with a weapon, you know? I mean, granted, Triple H could have just swung his sledgehammer, but it's a show, all right? We're not going to...
Wrestling
logic
right.
and wrestling. I thought it was a cool setup. He has the bat, and then he points at the sign. I like that Sting isn't saying anything. He's keeping his mystique.
Yes, up until the point, did you guys notice that Sting, like, yelled at Triple H
did say something.
At the end of the segment? He said, like, I'll see you at WrestleMania, which kind of broke the whole illusion for me a little bit.
If it's not on a microphone, it doesn't count.
I guess so,
exactly.
Right? Wrestling logic. I need to keep going back to that in my head. But question, are you guys sold on this whole WWE versus WCW thing yet? Because personally, I'm not.
I think Ric Flair being involved on Raw has certainly helped, because he's that gap between both guys. But honestly, no. I think that if it was maybe WrestleMania 20, it would have made perfect sense around that time, because it is a WrestleMania anniversary. WCW didn't die that much, too long ago. But it's been 14 years, It's like if, a Fresh Prince of Bel-Air invaded Raw and they were like, oh, well, hi, I'm Alfonso Ribeiro. Who are you? I mean, that's a majority of the reason that Sting got the offense, because we assume that everybody knows who Sting is.
I like how you shoehorn a Fresh Prince reference in there.
Yes, I had to do it. But how many people? I'd love to know how many people that listen to this show have never seen Sting while like WCW was a thing. Send us a tweet at Byte That Cast, because I know that not everybody that watches currently,
because I'm in that list.
Well, okay, excluding that movie, I guess.
I think they kind of have to just go with that WCW thing. You can't really ignore it. Triple H, is everything that's WWE, and Sting is everything that's WCW. And you can't just do the mysterious Sting thing, because you got an Undertaker feud going on simultaneously. We kind of mentioned this last week, me and Keith. So I think you have to have a little bit of differentiation going on. And, the feud's happening like 10 years too late, but you might as well just go with the history, and you can't really ignore it.
Now, flipping to the other side of the coin, we said Sting versus Undertaker. Now,
we've been getting Undertaker.
The rumors. No, but hey, I'm transitioning.
That was the original. Just let it go.
Exactly, Ryan.
He's on a roll here.
Ryan, you're breaking the podcast kayfabe. This is where transition.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Sorry. Here we go, man. So, we said we were originally going to get Sting versus Undertaker. That didn't happen. We're getting that match. Now, we've been getting all these rumors of the promos from Bray Wyatt that it was going to be Undertaker versus Bray Wyatt at WrestleMania. Now, we got the caskets. We got the Druids. They're back, man. They're not just in 2K14, 2K15. They are current in the WWE product. And then we get Bray Wyatt coming out of the casket laughing, talking about the Undertaker. So, basically, we know we're getting this match. I mean, there is no doubt about that at this point. So, now that we know it's going to happen, regardless of the stipulation, because we do not know that yet, what do you guys think?
I'm going to play devil's advocate for a second here. Do we know it's going to happen? Like, what if The Undertaker just doesn't respond to Bray Wyatt?
Well, that would just be... That's just not wrestling, man. That just doesn't happen.
But wouldn't that be the greatest thing, though?
Undertaker comes out, 30-minute entrance. No.
Everything we're trained to as wrestling viewers tells us that if you challenge someone, the match has to happen.
But at the moment, this is still complete speculation, because he hasn't accepted it or even been.
The fact that they move forward
on TV
with the
yet.
angle means it's expected to happen, barring some, some act of God, basically.
Fair enough.
It's happening, Keith. What do you think if it is going to happen? Which it is.
All right. Let's say it does happen. Now, I've said on this show that, why does The Undertaker need to be there? And I've kind of gone full circle on that opinion that now I'm kind of happy The Undertaker's showing up. This could potentially be his last run, and Bray Wyatt could be the guy that ends up getting the torch from The Undertaker. We've talked about the whole mystical power thing, and Bray Wyatt straight up said, he's looking for The Undertaker's soul. So this puts Bray Wyatt in a really nice position to be that next guy, potentially. And I think that's great for all parties involved.
I am all on board with this. I wasn't at first. I thought once the streak was over, like this, it doesn't matter anymore. Why even have it? But the more I think about it, the more I'm really enjoying it. First of all, I think Bray Wyatt's promo was excellent. I noticed he was a lot more clear and direct in that Fastlane promo, which was kind of not like his usual style, and I actually really liked it. But as far as this feud goes, it's like what happened at WrestleMania 30 is really, even though the streak ends, you think, oh, that's just how it should end. You never see Undertaker again. I really feel like that match was not how Undertaker wants to go out. And beating the streak wasn't really the torch passing as much as everyone thought it could have been. Because we know Lesnar, he's not a long-term situation. But this is really Undertaker's true chance to really give back to the business, really pass the torch to the next potential Undertaker type figure.
This is the way I've been thinking about it in my head, is that WrestleMania 30, that was for Vince McMahon. That was for Vince to build that big guy and then maybe move on in that direction. But this year, this match is for The Undertaker. This is for The Undertaker's legacy, really, so it can live on beyond The Undertaker.
And I don't think anyone wants that to be Undertaker's last match, because that was not The Undertaker we all know and love.
No,
and last year was about the streak, but now I think that as time progresses, it's going to be about what can Undertaker retain from his history. You may take the streak away, but you can't take the mystique away, and that's where Bray Wyatt comes in and is basically saying, you know what, I'm going to strip that from you. So you're going to be left with absolutely nothing, and then you're going to have to go away. So I think they did the best possible scenario, and, well, people don't care about the streak anymore, so let's not make it about the streak. Let's make it about the mystique.
It's about the Undertaker character again. It hasn't been about the character for a long time. It's always been about the streak. So this will be nice.
Now, the next thing we're going to talk about, it's crazy that this is actually going to happen. Once again, not confirmed, but at this point, I mean, this is definitely what we're going towards, is that at Fastlane, we got Goldust versus Stardust. Now, this is the match that they have been trying to hype ever since Cody Rhodes, before the mustache, I think even, they wanted to have this match take place at WrestleMania.
Probably all the way back to Legacy, really.
Wow, yeah, around that time.
But the whole thing when he showed up in maybe the 2013 Royal Rumble is when, when Goldust first kind of came back. That's when all the rumbling started.
There was even before that.
But that's
I remember
way before that.
Well, all right, whatever, go.
Basically, to summarize, way before Goldust was even in a WWE ring again, he said the reason he wanted to get in was to wrestle Cody Rhodes again at WrestleMania. He came in, but that never happened. That was never referenced. So it was the whole thing where, come on, we know you want this to happen, but it doesn't. So we got this match that, I know, Ryan, you were particularly upset by the fact that this happened in any way, shape, or form. So I want to take it to you first. And, obviously we saw that Goldust won the match in a very simple manner. And then it's leading to many excellent things, but just the match itself. What do you think that had to do with the story's progression?
Well, I didn't like that it happened at Fastlane. I think it should have been saved for WrestleMania, but the match itself just did not live up to the hype. I mean, we've been talking about this match forever, and I was patient with it. It was very slow and deliberate, and I felt like it was going to go somewhere, and then it just didn't. The crowd really wasn't into it, and it just kind of had a quick finish, and you're like, wow, really? That was it? So it was a big disappointment to me as far as the match itself goes.
To be fair, the crowd wasn't into 2 hours of that pay-per-view. It was basically just a dead arena. Even Stone Cold Steve Austin called that crowd out for being dead silent. But to your point, Ryan, that match had a very unfortunate ending. It was slow, deliberate, and something went wrong there.
The pin,
but yeah, that pin didn't go the way it was supposed to. At least that's what it seems like. But I mean, that's not the end of it. Immediately after the match, some really cool promos and backstage assaults happened, and hopefully it does lead into this WrestleMania match.
Yeah, so that's why I was actually really happy with the match, because I get that they're building up to WrestleMania, so they can't have the all-out match. This is basically more of the brothers that want to fight each other, but at the same time they don't, or something like that. But then we got these amazing, like I don't think I've ever been so pumped by just a simple promo as I was by Cody Rhodes after the match. I mean, he brought up Legacy, he brought out all these things, beat down Goldust. I think that is exactly what this feud needed. What did you guys think about that combination?
I thought that was awesome. Basically saying that, ever since, Goldust came back, he's felt like he's been dragged down and he's had to, carry him around, and that, he was successful on his own, and now he wants to get Goldust out. It's almost like he's saying, like, get the attitude out. It's like an attack on the Attitude Era, and he's trying to push him out of the company.
Then we did see on Raw that he had another match which he lost, so obviously this is sort of the whole situation where he's trying to focus so much on being Stardust and removing himself from Goldust that it's costing him matches and all that. So how much importance do you guys think this is going to get when inevitably we get the match at WrestleMania?
It might get time at WrestleMania. I still kind of think it's going to be a pre-show match, even though it might be Goldust last, but it's going to be on the card, and really that was the whole point of this from the very beginning. So it'll hopefully hit that goal.
There's rumors of it being some sort of match where Goldust could retire at the end, but then if we're led to believe the same thing with the Undertaker match, there could be kind of like a conflict there. You don't want to have two like retirement career-ending matches at Mania.
Everybody just retired.
So they might actually, they're definitely going to have some sort of match. They might save that stipulation for a later pay-per-view just so it's not, all these people retiring at the same WrestleMania. But I really hope that they give it time, and because they're giving it more time as far as the feud goes. So I want them to show the same like care for the match itself at Mania, because things ramped up pretty quickly. Because as we talked about before, it was slow for a while. So now they're really giving it a lot of love. So it needs that same amount at Mania. So no pre-show, please.
Dean Ambrose. What a promo after his match. I got to jump right to that promo for those that have not watched it. So, Fastlane, all these pay-per-views tend to have post-match promos that prominently don't get featured the way they should, but you really got to do yourself a favor. Check out Dean Ambrose post-match promo. It was absolutely amazing. I want to get your feedback, and then we're going to sort of talk about the Intercontinental title situation.
I mean, yeah, it really showed the Dean Ambrose character currently. If you go back and think about the fact that Dean Ambrose had the United States Championship for about a year and change and defended it like 3 times, kind of makes it weird, but it's still a good promo.
Can you give me a quick summary of the promo? Because I tried to watch on my phone and it wasn't working.
It basically what Dean Ambrose said was like, when I got into wrestling, I got in to fight people. I didn't get in to play tag. I didn't get in to chase people around the arena or disqualifications. I came to fight. So I'm going to be a real champion, and I'm going to take this Intercontinental Championship and defend it like it's mine, style thing.
And the crazy thing about it is, I don't know how unscripted it was, because he openly acknowledged that, he's basically booked to get disqualified. Like his character, he made references to his character, which was so weird, because all of a sudden he stopped. He even made poked fun at his name. Like, oh, you can call me the Lunatic Fringe so they can disqualify me? You want to call me that? Okay, keep calling me So how amazing was that? He was completely self-aware, just complete character change, really, which I think was absolutely necessary, because I know you, Ryan, you were even saying that for everything that we love about Dean Ambrose, it felt like he just became a parody at some point. So this is really nice to see.
It didn't feel like he didn't have that like outside the boundaries kind of feel. He just felt like he was in kind of WWE's shell of what they want him to be, a character. So, like, from what I'm hearing, it sounds like this might be potentially the start of him kind of breaking out of that shell and actually feeling like he is kind of a lunatic where, all bets are off. You have no idea what he's going to do. Like, he's capable of anything.
Let this one sink in for a minute. Think about Dolph Ziggler about this time last year, even before. It's really kind of what Dean Ambrose is at the moment.
Interesting. And you bring up Dolph Ziggler, and apparently all these guys are now interested in the Intercontinental Championship, which I may add, in the predictions last week, I predicted that this is going to turn into a multi-man match, which is apparently going to be the thing, I guess.
Look at you.
Hey, if we had to put up with you becoming a Slammy Award winner for like a year, I could have my week of celebration, man.
I'm still a Slammy Award winner, thank you. I am 1/20,000th a Slammy Award winner. That will never change. You can never take that away from me.
And
now you can move on.
I predicted something right a couple of weeks ago, didn't I? I'm pretty sure I did. I don't even remember what it was, but I predicted it.
You don't know what it was, but it happened. Probably.
It's a couple weeks back. Just listen. You'll see.
So what do you guys think about this variety pack that WWE is giving us with Dean Ambrose stealing the championship, and then Ziggler's interested in it, like R-Truth is interested in it, all these people, something is happening. It's a little confusing, but it's there.
We're going to get some sort of multi-man ladder match is what it's looking like, or at least a fatal four-way IC title match. It's kind of like I have mixed feelings about it because, you want guys like Ambrose and Ziggler to be going into singles feuds at Mania because, they're well liked by the crowd and you feel like they should be there at this point. But unfortunately, there's only so many matches you can fit on the card, so you got to do some multi-man things. So I have mixed feelings about it, but it's better to have them in a match than not.
You say that on a card that has a battle royal etched into it at this point. Do you need those multi-man matches?
I still think that you have to... So many people are trying to get onto WrestleMania that, yes, even just the 20-man Andre the Giant Battle Royal, which was announced, by the way, because we didn't mention that yet. Yeah, you still need multi-man matches because...
More people.
You try and get almost everybody you possibly can.
Fair enough. Now, as far as this potential Fatal 4-Way goes, it's real. 3/4 of it is really good. Barrett, awesome. Ambrose, awesome. Ziggler, awesome. And then we have R-Truth. All right, rant mode for a second here. When Mark Henry called most of the universe a bunch of puppets, I think he was talking about things like the fact that hashtag give truth a chance was the #1 trend worldwide for a blink of an eye last night. It's disgusting. Why?
I actually liked it. First of all, because did Truth beat somebody on SmackDown or something like that?
I think he beat Barrett a little while ago.
Everybody's just beating Wade Barrett because when you're the IC champ, you just lose to everybody because, hey, why not?
Totally.
But you know what? I had no idea when I saw that match why Truth was at commentary, and I kind of loved it. I was like, why is he even here? I have no idea why he's here. And then he's like, come on, give Truth a chance. I actually thought it was amazing.
They're like, hey, y'all, put on a hashtag and go on the Twitters, and then we'll make it trend. Like, no.
I appreciate it because you know what? He just kind of came out of nowhere, and he's like, come on, give me a chance. You know what? I am giving Truth a chance. I support that hashtag. And you know what? He's like just a complete random in this match, and I think it's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's nice that we get that little bit of a wild card in there. And for everything that we can sort of complain about multi-belt matches that, maybe Dean Ambrose, Ziggler deserve that isolated opportunity, I think it's just fun. And WrestleMania really does need to have that fun match. And if we don't get the Money in the Bank matches anymore, I think this can sort of be the next best thing, right?
Yeah, and it just clicked. Dolph Ziggler's in that match, which means he potentially won't be in a match with Daniel Bryan at WrestleMania.
Or Zack Ryder.
Oh God, are we gonna get D. Bryan Sheamus?
Yep.
Oh God, let's switch things up with this week's.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's time for the pick of the week.
Yes, it is the pick of the week. No tweet this week because I found something so good I had to tell you, our loving non-puppet listener, about it. All right, so we talk about Squared Circle a lot on this podcast. Like we tweeted, we probably go on there, about 20, 30 times a day, give or take. We love the place. Sometimes it's a love-hate relationship, but at the end of the day, we still love the place. Now, The reason I love the place, personally, is because of threads that happen like this one that I found the other day, which is by a user named broken_beat. What he's been doing for the last few weeks is just taking basically big stories in wrestling and getting wrestler takes on them. So he'll pick a topic and then he'll grab a bunch of quotes from different wrestlers and then kind of turn it into a story talking about that topic. Like this week he did The Undertaker. So he took a bunch of quotes and stories from people like Bret Hart, Kurt Angle, Sergeant Slaughter, Jake the Snake, The Ultimate Warrior, and basically kind of turned it into a little biography about The Undertaker. Some of his like earlier ones were things like Andre the Giant. He did the story of the relationship between Sonny and Chris Candido, which is heartbreaking, by the way. Owen Hart's death and what happened that night from the people that were there, and just a bunch of cool stories like that. He's been posting one a week, and if you're interested in what goes on behind the scenes in the slightest, I highly recommend checking this post out. We will put it on the Twitter machine just for you to go take a look at easily. And yeah, that's been my pick of the week.
Thank you, Keith, for that beautiful and pretty informative tweet of the week. I gotta check it out, man. It sounds pretty awesome.
Excuse me, sir. It was a pick of the week.
What did I say? Tweet?
You said tweet.
Well, I'm sorry. It's remote mechanics that just fluctuate my body and fluids come out. What? Okay, so
Wow.
thank you for that. You can also check out the YouTube channel if you're still listening to youtube.com/ByteThatCast. This week, we have a brand new edition of the Square Roundtable. We got SRT. We're coming back with a new format. We still have some of the old school ones there that are going to be coming out. But this one, it's Keith, Ryan, and myself. We're doing the roundtable a little bit differently. We're going to be talking about the best type of the WWE show format. So, how should Raw start? How should Raw end? When should John Cena be? How long should matches be? Promos, all that good stuff. You can check it out by going to youtube.com/ByteThatCast. And guys, I think we've built up something over the past couple of weeks, right? That I think we should finally get to announcing.
Ooh, it's exciting. My body is ready for this.
It's about time. It's officially WrestleMania season, so it is definitely about time.
We are on the fast lane to WrestleMania, my friends.
It is time to announce our third ever Byte That giveaway because it's WrestleMania season. We got to give something awesome. And you know what? I got married in December, and my wife and I were scouting the streets of New York for all of you, looking for something awesome. We go into Barnes & Noble, and there's this book called The Best in the World at What I Have No Idea. Chris Jericho's third book, his autobiography. I did myself a favor. I've read the previous two. They are really awesome. And guess what? It was a signed copy. There were a couple leftover copies from one of his latest signing sessions, and I got one for one of you. All that you got to do is go over to ByteThat.com. During this week, there's going to be a very nice button that can give you all the options on how to enter. The contest ends on March 23rd. That is the Monday before our Go Home episode to the road to WrestleMania. So do yourself a favor, go to ByteThat.com, fill that information out, send us a tweet, give us all that good stuff, and maybe you can win that contest. You must be from the U.S., and if maybe you're from another area and you do happen to win, we can sort of work something out, but primarily due to the shipping situations, we're limiting it to the U.S.
So I can't win?
Well, maybe Canada. You know what, Keith, should we do Canada also?
Yes, we should, because damn it, I want this book.
You know what? Keith just Don Wested this. We are expanding this contest to Canada, because Canada, okay?
And if you call in the next 10 minutes, we might
You'll get a
include
Michael
Puerto
Jordan
Rico.
rookie card.
Exactly. No, we're expanding it to the moon. If you're from the U.S., Canada, or the moon, you are eligible to win. I just really hope that doesn't happen now. Okay, so that's going on with many of the other awesome things happening in the world of the WWE. The most awkward and weird situation. So John Cena is battling for a mid-card championship. How crazy is that?
Nuts.
It's very weird. Kind of reminds me of like when Ric Flair won like the Intercontinental title. It just seemed really weird.
It's funny you just mentioned Ric Flair, because that's kind of the thing that ties this whole concept together for me. I think they're giving Cena a mid-card title so he doesn't come near Ric Flair's record yet. Because if it was a big major title, then that would put him at 16. So I think it's a way kind of to have your cake and eat it too. So they can put a title on Cena so they get that draw, but it's not the major title because they still care about Flair's record a teensy bit.
I also think it's just a situation of not really having long-term planning. I think they put the U.S. title...
Yeah, that's probably the real reason.
They
but
put the U.S. title on Rusev because it totally makes sense with the whole Russia versus America thing. And then you want to keep Rusev undefeated so he doesn't lose the title. Then when you face John Cena, it's like, well, you can't just ignore it. But it works because this was also Cena's first major title, so it is kind of like a callback. The U.S. title was a major part in, building him up to a main eventer, so it works. And it's interesting. It might help elevate the U.S. title. It's obviously the most important U.S. title match since WWE's basically brought it in. So, whatever, I'm okay with it.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy. And the other thing, John Cena lost by submission.
Yeah, we should actually talk about the match.
Yeah, that match itself. So I remember before the match, there was this speculation between all of us. That's not going to be a match. It's going to be like DQ 2 minutes in. It was a full match.
Yeah, it was pretty long.
I remember during it was quite an incredible thing where we just kind of stopped and like, hey guys, they're wrestling right now. Like this wasn't supposed to happen.
Man. We were all dead set on the fact that WWE wanted their first meeting in an actual match to be at WrestleMania because that's what we're trained to think. And it was just very weird that, WrestleMania could be a rematch. And it was, in its own right, though, it was an amazing match. They made Rusev just look like an absolute beast. And, Cena doesn't tap out, but wow, losing to a submission. It was something you just don't see from John Cena.
And to be fair, it was a technicality. John Cena lost to a submission not via tap out. He passed out because Rusev kicked him in the nuts so hard that John Cena passed out. That is the best finish ever.
See, it's like, yes, he cheated, but it wasn't over the top. It was enough to be like, oh, it wasn't a completely clean win, but it still like felt clean enough. For a heel, it didn't feel like, oh, there's all this interference and all that.
But think about that for a second. He kicked John Cena in the nuts so hard that John Cena passed out.
Well, he wasn't
How
the
hard
accolade.
was that kick?
Okay. It wasn't just the
blame
nuts.
the guy. Yeah. No, but it was awesome. It was a great match. Just the whole thing with Rusev, it's really blown my mind just how far they're really going to pushing him. So, I mean, we had John Cena on Raw talking about the U.S. Championship. You don't mess with America. Yeah, so we had that too. So that's another thing that's going to be happening. Are you looking forward to their rematch at WrestleMania and the way that it's going to be a rematch at WrestleMania? I mean, it's sort of it seems to be a theme that's happening right now. I'm not sure I love it, but it's a thing.
I feel like a stipulation is going to be added. I think I heard some people talking about maybe a last man standing match. I think that would be a pretty good idea. Rusev is just like really impressing me more and more in the ring, and his promos, like, even though he's got like the accent or whatever, like it really works, and it was just awesome. I really like that he straight up turned down the rematch because that's what an actual competitor would probably do. It's like, I beat you, why do I have to fight you again? So obviously we know the match is going to happen, but I like his initial refusal of a rematch.
Now, as far as being excited for the match I'd love to be, I really would, but it's hard to get excited thinking about what happened in this situation last year where there was an up-and-coming guy that was red hot going into a match with John Cena at WrestleMania, had great matches, had great promos, and then after that, nothing. So I wouldn't like history to repeat itself on Rusev again.
Rusev at least got a much more convincing win already than Bray Wyatt ever got in his feud with Cena. So
True.
This is this is an improvement at like a little bit,
Now, this is not the WrestleMania prediction show, so this is going to be yes or no. Nothing else. Let's savor that conversation for that moment. Is John Cena going to win, yes or no?
Yes.
Of course.
Yes. Okay. So, yeah, it's a sad day right now. But you know what? Let's move on to another questionable thing that happened at Fastlane / Raw. So we got this random 6-man tag match. We had Kane, Big Show, Rollins taking on the recurring Team Survivor Series. And then, I don't know, it's just, it felt so thrown together. It's kind of weird how Seth Rollins went from being at the very top to sort of just being the filler, I guess. What did you guys feel about that, and what happened after?
Well, when you have a pissed off ex, there's a little bit of repercussion, apparently.
Yeah, it is kind of sad because Seth Rollins, for quite a while, was absolutely the best thing going, and then he just kind of got thrown in this throwaway match.
I mean, there's the guys every year that you kind of can say that they're really the guys holding it down all year. Then WrestleMania season comes around and these big guys come and bigger things happen with those guys. And those guys that have been holding it down all year kind of get pushed to the side. Seth Rollins was kind of that with Fastlane.
At least it's looking towards a singles feud at Mania, which has the potential to be really good. I kind of wanted to talk to you guys. I think the main thing coming from this 6-man tag match was Randy Orton coming back. So we know he came back. He RKO'd the hell out of a whole bunch of people. You know, you got Joey Mercury jumping off the turnbuckle for no reason just to eat an RKO.
Yeah.
So I wanted to ask you guys, how do you feel about how they handled Randy Orton on Raw? One really wants to go on this one.
I hate this so much. I do not like this. Number one, I'm biased. I don't like babyface Randy Orton. Never have. I mean, he never has. I mean, he's been open about it, like on Twitter and pretty much everywhere. And the fact that they're making it so obvious, and it's unfortunate for Rollins because, let's face it, what other match is he going to have at WrestleMania? There's pretty much nothing else left. So they're throwing him against Randy Orton. He's an established name, but just, I'm feeling I get nothing from this at all.
See, what I find interesting about it is not what they did on Raw, but it's what they didn't do on Raw. Because if you look back at all the Randy Orton segments, there's one person that was silent and didn't say a word, and that was Triple H. Now, you remember how when Orton got taken out the first time, Triple H was like this disapproving parent where he's like, oh, I'm sorry, Randy, we have to do this. So you know that confrontation is going to come eventually, and that's the part that I'm interested in most.
I don't know. I would have just liked it so much more if Orton was just hell-bent on destroying Rollins the whole time, and that was it.
But that's not Randy Orton, though. You can tell Randy Orton's doing the, like, yeah, I'll get close with the authority, and then I'm going to turn on them and really hurt them. That's more of the Orton character.
But the way he's doing it, it's just so wrong.
Rollins kicked his head in. Like, why does he have to just be buddy-buddy? I don't know. I feel like people
But it's buddy-buddy for the moment. You even said yourself, it's obvious he's going to turn, right? So it's going to make that moment more impactful, in my opinion, instead of just giving it to you right away.
The thing is, they're not even hiding it. That's the problem. It's so obvious. And it's like, just freaking do it. And not because of the momentum, not just because, yay, he finally turned, but you're not even trying with the way you guys are working it out.
Now, I'm going on 100% assumption here, but to me, that seems like kind of the point. Like, it's dead obvious. And maybe Triple H knows it. Triple H knows that's exactly what Randy's going to do. And maybe that's where they take it instead.
I mean, I guess in that aspect, I'd sort of be okay with it. I think that with the Triple H Sting match, maybe that's why he's just not really even commenting about that situation, because they want to build up that match and not have him be like the father figure to the authority, but also having this match on the side. It's too much.
I think it just kind of took the, the wind out of the sails of Randy Orton, because everyone was just hyped for him coming back, RKOing everybody, and then to just have him go right back to the authority. I think people would have just been more hyped up to see him kind of like stalking Rollins.
I think for now, yes, you're right, but I think it's going to make it more impactful in the next couple of weeks. So we'll see. One of us is right and one of us is wrong, so we'll see.
Jury's out.
I actually really like this. For once in like a blue moon, we disagree, guys. I'm so happy. But yeah. Last thing I want to bring up regarding the sort of WrestleMania bill, because everything else is a little bit more general. Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal. It's been confirmed. The man that confirmed it is The Miz. Now, obviously, we've sort of been speculating that we're going to get Miz Mizdow WrestleMania. With this announcement, we're not getting that. So what are we getting, Ryan?
They're probably these guys as the last two in that match. Seems very like a very big possibility. But it is disappointing. But the more I think about it, the more it might be for the best, because this Mizdow thing is super hot. The crowd's really into it. But on a show like WrestleMania, it's not going to get the attention it probably deserves and might be better served for Extreme Rules or something like that. So initially I was disappointed, but now I'm starting to see the reasoning behind it.
Exactly, because you have to remember there's only so much time in a WrestleMania event. You can only have so many matches, so I don't think that match would hurt being pushed to Extreme Rules more than others. So we're still going to get some development. I agree with you that they might be the last two in the match. If not, then Mizdow's probably going to eliminate the Miz leading up to that. But it'll be good. I'm still invested in this feud. I still love what they're doing every single week. So do more of it.
No, and the fact that you have to get eliminated by being thrown over the top rope, they can play a lot into that. Maybe Miz even rehires him as a stunt double and tries to fake eliminate himself, just like Mizdow throws himself over. They can get really creative like that, sort of Kofi style, but in the Battle Royal. That being said, is the Battle Royal going to mean anything this year? I mean, we saw what happened last year.
I'm going to call it the John Cena effect, where we've been burned before about their arm bar.
It's funny that they're even doing it again, because you felt like they at least had to do something with the first winner. And hey, maybe now they can say, Cesaro won it last year and now he's tag team champions. So that...
a whole year later.
Maybe that's why they threw the title on him, just to be like, hey, look, this is what can happen if you win the Battle Royal. I think they really need to make the winner actually... do something. They're going to make it like a King of the Ring type thing where the guy at least gets a pretty good push afterwards. So maybe, try it again. It's a good way to get a lot of people on the show that normally wouldn't. So at least do something. Don't destroy the trophy the next night and then you don't even see it anymore. Let's do something more with the winner. That's what I want to see.
I'd say let's do something with him. Not even more.
Yeah,
do something with him. Yeah. Which, by the way, I mean, we didn't really get time to cover the Cesaro Kid thing, but they became tag champions. Awesome tag team. Just some quick comments about it.
I love it, but I hope it's not just something so, hey, Usos get a rematch for the titles at WrestleMania, and they win the titles, and their daddy's going in the Hall of Fame. It's a real Uso magical night.
That potentially could even be a 6-man mixed tag match or something. It looks like they probably want to put Naomi and Natalya in there, but I was pleasantly surprised to see Kid and Cesaro win the title, so I was happy about that.
Now, before we close out the show, we do have a couple of questions that are really awesome. Well, the first one is from Roach McPoach, but the question relates to sort of something that happened on Raw, which people are really, really pissed off about. I mean, even Mick Foley, there was a trending thing about hashtag give Divas a chance, because Paige and Emma came out, and then they were completely cut off by a promo. So just think about the awkward situation that they're out there and just stand there. And then they have a 30-second match. Solo Monster, another a very popular podcast about wrestling, he time kept the match, and it was 30.80 something seconds. So the fact that they were out there for over 5 minutes, over 6 minutes, and then had a 30-second match is freaking ridiculous. And I want to get your comments on that.
I said earlier that nothing good came out of hashtag give truth a chance. I lied, because this probably wouldn't have happened if that segment didn't happen earlier. But yeah, no, it's unfortunate, but it's the whole WrestleMania season thing. What did the Divas get bumped off by? Well, they got bumped off by Sting, technically. And Sting against Divas match doesn't really fit.
I really like this type of movement, and I think not only did the truth thing help a little bit, but I definitely think NXT is a big force in this, because I think maybe a lot of casual wrestling fans who've gotten the network are seeing that, hey, in NXT, the Divas are actually a lot of fun and are awesome to watch, and why can't they do the same thing with the Divas on Raw? So maybe it's a lot of people are starting now to recognize that, these Divas have the ability. It's just, they never are allowed to showcase it. So I want to see more of this.
Exactly. I think that keeps this movement going. I think that NXT is the best wake-up call, that the Divas should not be Divas. They are like every other part of the roster. WWE has just trained us to sort of be like, they are the side project, so let's not really focus on that. So with that being said, Ryan, could you rate as the honorary fourth member of Byte That's Question? I said that wrong. Roach McPoach, basically, fourth member.
Absolutely. So Mr. Roach McPoach of the Twitter handle @RoachMcPoach asks, with what happened to the women on the show last night, who are your top 5 female wrestlers? Any promotions?
Now, obviously, we are primarily watchers of the WWE. Some of us have watched Ring of Honor, TNA, and things like that, but I'm assuming most of our answers are going to be about WWE specifically. So with that being said, Keith,
Correct.
What are your top 5? How did you work your top 5?
I worked top 5 as like my 5 favorite female wrestlers in the products that I watch at this current time. So these are all current divas. So at number 5, I chose Sasha Banks because in NXT, I don't think there's been a more impressive diva than Sasha Banks in recent memory. I think that she's going to do great. Who knows what's going to happen when she comes up on the roster, but in her NXT stint, I think some amazing things are going to happen. Now, my number 4, for kind of the exact same reason, is Bayley. Bayley's been doing a lot of different things, kind of breaking the diva mold completely in NXT and doing her own thing and it working. I mean, one of my favorite chants in NXT is Bayley's gonna hug you. Basically putting Bayley on the exact same pedestal as Samoa Joe, which is kind of incredible.
Who's in Ring of Honor?
Indeed. Now, number 3, I'm going with something a little different here, and that's Sexy Star in Lucha Underground. I think everything they're doing in Lucha Underground is very awesome, and this is your weekly reminder. If you haven't checked it out, you should probably go check out Lucha Underground.
I'm gonna do that.
Mr. Ryan McNulty.
Who's been saying that he's going to watch it since like October or something.
The streak lives on.
We should put a deadline on this, by the way, but we can talk about that later. But the reason why I chose Sexy Star is not only is she an incredible in-ring performer, but she's having matches with male wrestlers, which if you think about like WWE and NXT, that's blasphemous. Like she's going in there having a one-on-one match, taking serious bumps from males and just having great matches. Now my number 2 is Paige. Because she's the anti-diva. She's not your typical diva that you're like used to seeing. Like she's not a Bella, she's not a Summer Rae, she's not even like a Trish Stratus, really. She's kind of breaking the diva mold and really came into her own well on the WWE roster. If there's somebody fighting the fight of change currently, I would say it's Paige. Now my number 1 diva is somebody that really set the wheels of change in motion, in my opinion, and that's AJ Lee. Back when like Total Divas was new, she was kind of the one holding down the Divas division, saying like, hey, that's happening there, but I'm over here. I'm the Divas champion. I'm doing great things. And not only that, but she's a phenomenal wrestler. I would probably say that she's one of the best female wrestlers of all time as far as in-ring ability. And that's why she's my number 1. So yeah, that's my list.
Great list, Keith. What about you, Ryan?
All right, so my list is all-time favorites, and I've primarily watched WWE the entire time I've been watching wrestling, so all of them are from WWE. So at number 5, I have Melina. I was a big fan of the whole M&M stable. I thought Melina was really cool. She had very acrobatic moves, and you can't ignore that entrance. Let's be honest, folks. At number 4, I had Trish Stratus. I thought she was, a very influential diva in kind of, her and Lita just had a lot of epic feuds. I'll never forget their main event on Raw, and she was kind of important in bringing in, like, she had the looks and the wrestling ability, and I thought that was awesome. Number 3, AJ Lee. Keith hit a lot of great points on her, basically kind of breaking the typical diva mold and really getting over and getting involved in a lot of the, top storylines and being GM and stuff. And not only that, but being awesome in the ring and on promos. Number 2, I have Paige. Although she hasn't quite, broken the status, hasn't quite gotten as high as AJ had gotten. I'm just overall a huge fan of her, and I really enjoy her wrestling style and her anti-diva look and everything. And then number 1 has to go for me to Lita. Obviously mentioning that main event match on Raw. I was a huge fan of the Hardy Boys, so that whole Team Extreme thing. And you didn't see any other diva doing moonsaults and stuff, so that was also really cool.
Great list, man. For me, I got to start it off with Sasha Banks would be a number 5 because in this list I bring up of all time. So and a couple of them are from TNA. So number 5, Sasha Banks, for pretty much everything Keith has said. She's not only one of my favorite divas right now, she's one of my favorite talent on the WWE roster for everything she does in terms of character, variety in the wrestling, and pretty much everything. I think she's just really entertaining to watch. Number 4, I pick Awesome Kong. Awesome Kong was in WWE for a little while, but she never really had a match, so I'm not counting Karma. But Awesome Kong in TNA was awesome. I saw some of her indie work as Amazing Kong, I believe it was, and it was just always a different atmosphere. You could put an athletic diva, a powerful diva, but Awesome Kong's size and strength just made everything an entertaining match. And I mean, she would even powerbomb guys and wrestle with guys, much like Sexy Star does in Lucha Underground. Number 3, I'll put Trish Stratus for everything pretty much Ryan said. She broke the diva mold. She had the looks and the skills, and is somebody that clearly did not go into the WWE to wrestle. But somewhere around that line, she fell in love with it, started wrestling, started being awesome. Number 2, I have Lita. Lita on a personal level, I met her in private many years ago during my darker times in life, and she was actually a really good role model for me. So that's sort of the ultra serious part. And then the other part, she showed me that divas are way more than just looks. I mean, the Lita Corona, the moonsaults, it showed that the women wrestlers are capable of doing everything the male wrestlers do. Just sort of some people, I guess, don't like that for whatever reason. I mean, that's their cup of tea, I guess, but I think that's awesome. And number 1, Gail Kim. And when I say Gail Kim, I specify TNA Gail Kim because I don't think that in WWE she really found herself. She didn't do too much there. But in TNA, she is the female version of Tyson Kidd. I think it's the best way I can put her. She wrestles very similarly like him. She's a workhorse in the ring. And whenever she's in there, she's giving it 500%, and that's why she backed out of that battle royal by going underneath the ring in the WWE and then proceeded to quit. So that's my top 5. Staying on the topic of divas, we have the frequent question of the week from J4 Gaming, always creative. Keith, take it away.
We sure do. And Mr. J4 Gaming YT on Twitter asks, if you're being completely honest with yourself, which diva are you most like? Now, any diva from any time period is fine. So, Ryan, what does female diva Ryan look like? Is like...
I've thought about this one, and it's very tough. And I'm gonna have to go with the diva I feel like I'm most like is probably Emma, because I can't dance, and I'm a goofy bastard. So I think I can relate to her the most, and just how, it's she doesn't take herself seriously, and, things go wrong, but you make the best of it.
Juan?
For me, first I'm going to say my pick for Keith is ODB.
What?
I'm just going to throw that out there.
No, that was my pick for me too.
Are you kidding me?
No, not at all.
Oh, God damn it.
I feel like if I'm ODB. There's no question. Just if you don't know who ODB is. Yeah.
But for me, I got to say AJ Lee in the way that sometimes I know I talk a lot. I love to rant about things. I get really pissed off about things when I don't like them. And she's Puerto Rican. I'm Puerto Rican, so I guess it's close enough, right?
There you go.
Thank you, J4 Gaming, for that awesome question. And we have one more question. This one coming from Mark Reeder at Mark the Jedi on Twitter. And he says, are you guys a fan of Sting's new WWE theme song? It sounds to me like a song from the old N64 game, GoldenEye, which the moment I read that, he ruined Sting's theme song for me. I cannot unhear the GoldenEye in it.
See, I'm okay with it. But that's just because I'm not exactly over the whole holy crap, it's Sting thing still. Like, I don't really hear the theme when Sting comes out, just the ka 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 every now and then. But I'm so focused on Sting being there that it's like, whatever, it's a generic theme, it's cool.
And apparently Sting's like coming out, just we forget how to speak.
Yeah.
Yes, I do.
We're
We cannot talk.
How I feel is I'm okay with this theme now, but I would like them to use the Crow theme for his WrestleMania entrance. If it doesn't happen, I'm not going to cry about it, but I think that would be cool.
I think that's the best way to answer it. So thank you, Mark Reeder, for the question. J4 Gaming, Roach McPoach, you guys are awesome. Everybody else is awesome also. We love you. And for everything else, Mr. McNulty is going to soothe you with his beautiful voice.
Alrighty, well, we want to thank everyone for listening to another episode of the Byte That podcast. Before we go, just a few things to let you know before you turn this off. And that is to, of course, subscribe to our YouTube channel, youtube.com/ByteThatCast. A new Square Roundtable going up this Thursday about, what is our ideal format for a Monday Night Raw. As well as you can check out Fight Night, which we have episodes every other week. You want to see Dandy fighting a banana? It's ridiculous. Me and Juan do commentary over WWE video games. It's a lot of fun, so check that out as well. Don't forget about our WrestleMania giveaway. You can go to bytethat.com to sign up for your chance to win an autographed copy of Chris Jericho's book, The Best in the World at What I Have No Idea. So that is awesome. You definitely want to do that. Don't forget about us on social media. You can follow us on Twitter at ByteThatCast, as well as check out our Facebook, facebook.com/ByteThatCast. And I'm going to leave you with this. Is Solomon Crow the secret love child of the Blue Meanie and Vegeta? You let us know by tweeting us, and we will see you next week. So take care, guys.